I'd like to start there with this argument between, I guess, the progressive wing of the party, dare I say socialist, and the more mainstream or more moderate Democrats, as I think you might describe Haley Stevens. I saw a notice report out there today that the Democrats' re-election strategy is to be normal. What does that mean?
Well, I think our strategy is to talk about the issues that matter with people on the ground, understand the challenges that they are facing. And right now, number one issue across the country is people are struggling to get by. Housing, food, healthcare, childcare, energy costs, gas prices, all skyrocketing because of actions taken by this administration and Republicans in Congress. And having candidates who understand that, who are connected to their communities, that's how we win. The path to the majority in the House is through these swing districts, these purple districts across the country. And I think it's also important to remember there are no cookie cutter candidates. It's having folks who are closely connected to their communities and who are going to DC to actually represent their communities, not be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. So if you look at our candidates, it's farmers, ministers, veterans, mayors, even a award-winning musician, folks who have differing backgrounds but share their desire to represent their communities and to stand up for them in Washington, D.C.
Well, I've found this whole conversation very interesting. And I remember when, Republicans were talking about a big tent when the Tea Party movement was taking place. And I'm wondering how you're seeing this. Shouldn't the passion and the energy around a candidate like Abdul El-Sayed, whether you wanted him to win or not, be a good thing for Democrats in the sort of net when you look at involvement, turnout? What actually gets people off the couch to pull the lever on behalf of Democrats? Is that how you see this, or is it distracting from your message?
No, people want candidates who are going to stand up for them, who are going to fight for them, who understand and empathize with the challenges that they face and are speaking about these issues directly. And of course, my focus is on the House of Representatives and taking back the gavels in the House of Representatives. And you look at our map, it is these purple districts across the country that are our path to the majority. And that's why I said there are no rubber stamp, folks out there who are running on our side. They're running to serve their communities, and they are uniquely connected to their communities and pulling people together. And, you have to have crossover appeal in these swing districts to win. And those are exactly what our candidates are like. And they have earned the support of a diverse community across their districts.
One of the issues that's been bubbling up for populists on both sides of the aisle, Congresswoman, you don't need me to tell you, is data centers, and then more largely AI. And it's interesting to see this letter signed or led off by the chair of the Progressive Caucus in the House to Speaker Johnson, demanding an audience with major CEOs of AI companies. There are quite a few folks who signed off on this to get the Amadeus and Altmans here to Washington to testify. Bernie Sanders is out with his own letter. I know that's not your chamber, but you didn't sign off on this. And I'm wondering if you share their concerns, how important this will be for elections in November.
Well, we absolutely should be bringing folks in. We should be having the discussions about what's happening out there. Congress is behind on putting in policy regulations to make sure that we are keeping up with the way the world works today and keeping up on making sure that we're protecting consumers and communities. So absolutely, we should be having discussions about what's happening, what people are going to do differently. But also we need to make sure that Congress is doing its part. I think we're behind on putting policies in place like consumer data privacy. We still don't have a federal consumer data privacy law, and we still don't have policies in place making sure that consumers and communities are protected. Data centers, making sure that local communities aren't impacted with energy prices, that consumers aren't paying utility prices for data centers, to make sure that we aren't losing farmland, rural communities are negatively impacted. These are all things we need to be having discussions about, that local communities need to be having a say on, but we also need federal policies in place. And we are woefully behind.
It's not lost on us that you were an executive at Microsoft for some time before you entered politics. You are no stranger to high tech. Do you feel like this technology is one that's moving too quickly, is one that needs guardrails?
Well, absolutely, we need to have guardrails in place. And I'd say it's critically important that we have a Congress that is putting policies in place, learning what's working and not working, and continuing to adapt and move forward. That's part of our job. And when we have leadership like we do now in Congress with Mike Johnson, who is only interested in doing whatever Donald Trump tells him to do, we have a Congress that's not standing up and doing its job in terms of the oversight and policy making that we need to be doing for our communities. That's another huge reason why we need to take back the House, because we are behind, and the longer we wait, the further behind we get.
Just got a minute left, Congresswoman. I see you're out with 12 new targets, and we talked about it last week when you updated your battle map, your battlefield for 2026. 12 new offensive targets, including French Hill and Mike Flood. Are these realistic seats you plan to flip, or is this getting to be a wish list when you include the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee?
Well, I think it's reflective of what we're seeing happening across the country. We have 58 districts across the country that we have opportunity, where we're on offense, where we have opportunities to take back the House. And yes, some of these are districts that were Trump plus 11, Trump plus 15, even higher than that. And it really reflects how people are reacting to the broken promises of Republicans. They have all become a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. They are not interested in serving the communities. We are an independent branch of government.